is how to teach a middle cue and then how we can use that middle to help with various care and husbandry activities.
Before we can use the cue middle for our cooperative care and husbandry activities, we must teach the actual cue middle itself first. To teach middle, I am going to use a basic law and reward system, using my clicker to mark Murphy when he has got it right. You will see that I am holding the treat in my hand very close to Murphy's nose. When luring, we must ensure that the treat is no further than an inch away from our dog's nose, otherwise they may back away and become uninterested. I'm going to repeat this, so continuing to lure Murphy through my legs through holding that treat nice and close to his nose and then throwing it out in front of me so that it's a nice clear message as to when he can leave the position. Now it's important to note here that Murphy is well practiced at lure and reward. He knows if he follows the treat, something good is going to happen. Whereas some other dogs might be more suspicious of luring, and it can take actually a very long time to teach some dogs to do this, particularly if they are anxious or they are nervous. So please take your time, and if you have to, break the whole process down in stages. So instead of trying to lure them all the way through your legs at once, break it down to luring them around your leg with lots of treats along the way. If you've got to this stage, you can now start to say middle as your dog is moving through your legs. That will help them pair that cue word with what it is that they're actually doing. Now the next stage is to ask your dog for a sit whilst they are in between your legs. Now pairing the middle with the sit is actually really beneficial, particularly if you're going to be using this for cooperative care and husbandry activities. If we were to say put some eardrops in or some eye drops or even use it for the kennel cough vaccine, we would want our dogs to be in a sit position. You will see that I am continuing to treat and reward Murphy away from me. That is so that he knows when he can get up out of position. I'm now going to drop the clicker and I'm going to say OK when it is OK for Murphy to get up. Now this is important because that now becomes a release cue, and release cues are really important, particularly when we are looking at husbandry activities. You will also see that I'm now no longer using a treat to lure Murphy into position, and instead I'm using a hand signal. This is the next step and is effectively putting the action of middle on cue. To do this, we will have to fade out the lure. For some dogs, that might mean actually faking that you have a treat in your hands and still doing the same action before eventually moving your hands from that fake lure position into almost a finger, as you can see there. That finger movement will then become a hand signal for the dog, indicating that you'd like them to do middle. Once you have middle on cue and your dog is reliably doing it with a sit, the next stage is to build duration in the position. For Murphy, I'm going to do this by feeding him whilst he is in that position and then releasing him when it's okay for him to get up. I'm going to continue to repeat this so that he knows being in that position means nice things happen. I'm also using a calm, elongated marker, which is helping Murphy to know that he is doing the right thing by staying there. At this stage, I'm also introducing a little bit of distraction by moving my feet. It's really important that if you're going to use middle for cooperative care or a husbandry exercise, that you put some distraction into it, because obviously you are not going to be standing completely still if you come along with some eardrops or some eye drops or even the kennel cough vaccine. I'm progressing that distraction now to touch and actually patting Murphy and touching him on the chest while he's in that position. Now you can see Murphy is a little bit tentative because he raises one of his paws, and that is a calming signal. It's one of the calming signals that Murphy uses quite a lot when he is feeling this way. Now if Murphy was to continue to display these calming signals and was telling me that he was really not coping, I would have to be really careful and take my time progressing this stage. However, you can see after a few good repetitions, when Murphy knows what's expected, he's quite happy for me to stroke his chest. I do, however, have a little bit more work to do around touching his eyes. I'm going to continue to practice this with Murphy, in particular taking it really slowly in relation to his eyes. By taking it really slowly, I will in effect build his tolerance to me touching his eyes so that I can examine them better. There is no point or benefit to rushing, because if I do and I scare Murphy and I break his trust, I am then going to poison this middle cue. Murphy's eyes and ears are both particularly sensitive areas for him, and so I'm going to use the middle cue to also help with putting his eardrops in. Before I do the deed, I'm going to introduce the scent of the drops, which he'll be able to smell, and the sight of the drops next to him whilst he does the middle. Now you'll see I'm back to luring him into the position here. Now that is purely because this is going to be very difficult for Murphy, so I want to make it as easy as possible. So if making it easier means I'm luring him again, now that is absolutely fine. I want Murphy to be as happy and as stress-free as possible in this situation. The next stage is to desensitise the movement of the bottle around Murphy's face and my hands touching his ears. Now this can take any amount of time depending on the dog, so please don't rush again. Take your time. It might take days, it might take weeks, it might even take months, but it is worth doing. Murphy is quite well practiced in having his eardrops put in this way. Before we started to use middle, it was really difficult, but now, as you can see, he's an absolute superstar.